as a whole, is there one particular thing that strikes you? Something about skill or speed, or it's just something that, having seen work with them for 3-4 days now?
Well, the thing that I've been impressed with probably is their compete level. I think they're an energized group. One of the things we talked to them about on day one when they got here was the primary objective from our standpoint of this camp was for us to educate them on what it means to be a Pittsburgh Penguin and the values that are important to us and the attributes that the players possess and what the expectations and where the standards are. And at the top of that list is competitive people. We want guys that have high compete levels, that are willing to fight through the adversity and the circumstances that this game and this league throws at you, and it's not always an easy ride. And so it's certainly an important aspect of being a Pittsburgh Penguin. I think I'm sure that there are obviously people within the organization that have seen that quality in the players, and that's the reason why they're here. That's the reason why they've been drafted. And quite honestly, for me, it's really jumped out at me watching them on the ice, and not only on the ice but off the ice. Whether we're in the rowboats yesterday or in the weight room as well. A lot of the way this camp is built is around competition, where we're giving points to players or teams for performance, and so that these guys get a really good understanding that that's something that we really value. And quite honestly, they've been impressive so far.
How'd that rowing go yesterday? I know you Boston guys are used to rowing, but some of these guys are kids in places where
all I can tell you is I had a hard time tying my skates this morning from my hamstrings are so tight. So, we had the coaches were in one boat, and I'm sure that we had to make sure they had there wasn't a weight limit so that we weren't taking on water. But it was certainly a great illustration of teamwork, and I've gained a ton of respect for that sport and how difficult it is.
How important is this camp for you in terms of getting it more acclimated with the organization as well as the players that may play for you this season?
Very important. I think I'm taking as much out of this camp as the players are. It's given me an opportunity to get to know some of the management and Mike Johnston and his staff. Some of the people that work within the organization I have prior relationships with, but some I don't. And it's given me a great opportunity to get to know them. I think they've had an opportunity to get to know me a little bit. I think that's an important aspect of it. And it's this game really it takes a village to have success, and there's a lot of people involved that I think drive that force for an organization. So, and it starts with relationships. And so, for me to have an opportunity to spend a week with a lot of different people, whether it be the kids on the ice or in the weight room or in the boats or even with the management and Mike Johnson's staff, has been a great opportunity for me.
Jim talked before you were hired about wanting to play the same system as Mike did. How close are you guys philosophically? And
Very
this week,
close.
do you sort of sit down and iron that out?
Yeah, we had a couple of days of coaches' meetings, and we talked a lot about tactical play and strategy and philosophy, and we're very close. And I think there'll be subtle differences just based on logistics, personnel. The leagues are a little bit different, so there'll be subtle differences. But I think the main philosophy, the main strategies and tactics will be very similar. We even talked about using similar vocabulary so that the call-up process is as seamless as we can make it, so that when the players do get called up, it's not brand new to them. It's something that they've already been introduced to. The vocabulary, even some of the drills that we're going to use, we're going to try to have some similarities so that process is as seamless as possible.
If you reserve your evaluation of these guys individually at this point, what are you looking for right now as you kind of turn the corner into the fall?
Well, it's really, and this is what we said to the players on day one, we've really tried hard to not make this an evaluation camp. It's about an education and an orientation into what it is to be a Pittsburgh Penguin. It's given us an opportunity to introduce to the players the resources that we have at their disposal to help them become the best players they can be. It's hard not to, it's human nature that when you're out there watching them, it's hard not to assess what's going on. But for me, the one thing that we've really talked about is being a group of players that have puck possession skills, that have high compete level, that have hockey sense and functional intelligence out there. So those are the types of things that we've been stressing with them this week. It lends to, I think, to an identity that the Pittsburgh organization has established here, and the type of the philosophy of play that they're trying to establish. And so that's kind of been the process that we've taken with the players this week.
How happy are you to add a guy like Jay Leach to your staff, and how do you kind of envision working with him, this upcoming season?
I think Leachy's going to be terrific. I think he's, number one, he's a great person. I think he's an easy guy to establish a relationship with. I think he'll resonate. His voice will resonate with the players the minute we get there. I know that in my heart. I think he's not far removed from being a player himself. So when he speaks from his experience, it would be hard for the players not to heed his insights, because he's a guy that not too long ago was sitting in their shoes. He played a long time in the American League. He had a bunch of games in the NHL. He understands the dynamic of the American League and the call-up process and how that affects a player, whether it be confidence-wise or psychologically, or it's not an easy road. And Jay has been a guy that I think has been through that road successfully, and I have the utmost admiration for that. And I think our players will see it the same way.
As was mentioned earlier, you're pretty vocal at the practices here. You worked with John Twitter the last few years. You, I guess, say he's a vocal person. How much of him is part of your mindset as a head coach?
Torts is one of my dearest friends. I think he's a great hockey coach. I think he's a really good teacher. I think, I think I learned a lot from him, working beside him over the years. I think we share similar philosophies in the sense that he's a stickler for details. He's an organized person. His process of coaching is very detailed, and he's worked at it. So I think we share a lot of similar philosophies from that standpoint. I think we're very different personalities. I think the one thing that I think we both bring to our team is we love the game and we bring passion. Having said that, I think we do it in different ways because we're different personalities. And so is he a guy that I've learned a lot from? Absolutely. I think the time I spent with Torts has certainly made me a better coach. But I know, and he knows, him and I have had these conversations through the years, that my aspirations are to be a head coach, not to be an assistant coach. And my logic when I joined him was to take a step back and work beside someone that's had success, in the hopes that I can hone the craft and become a better coach myself. And I know that's happened.
Have you determined the format for tomorrow yet?
No. I'm sure, quite honestly, I'm sure it's determined. That's not my responsibility to this point. I think Tommy Fitz is the guy that's been responsible for that. So I'll take my marching orders from Fitzy.
As an AHL coach with a lot of NHL experience, do you think you can use that to help the AHL players advance to the next level?
Well, I would like to think so. I certainly, as an AHL coach that spent a fair amount of time in the National League, I can speak to them as far as knowing what it takes to play at that level consistently, and my hope is that the knowledge that I've acquired since I've been coaching, and the experiences that I've gone through and I've learned from, both failures and successes, I hope I can bring the benefit of those experiences to Wilkes-Barre to help the players there. I'm excited about that opportunity, and my hope is that we can really grow as a group down there, and we can develop some hockey players.
When you talk about education instead of evaluation, does that also apply to like a kid? I'm thinking of a kid like Matt Murphy, some of the unsigned kids that are in here. Is there maybe a little bit of more of an evaluation with those kids, the ones who are trying to earn a contract?
Well, I mean, I don't think contracts are going to get earned in this week. I think there's plenty of opportunity for contracts to be earned moving forward. I think what it will do is I think hopefully it will open eyes for the young players that are here as to what the expectations are and how high the standard is. And that's certainly something that we've tried to impress upon them this week since we've been here. I think there'll be plenty of time for earning contracts moving forward.